Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Parikrama Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasari, Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Welcome, dear devotees, gathering together in front of Srila Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi in Govardhan, gathering together for the second day of Govardhan. Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And we would also like to garland you, Maharaj, from our side of the world too. Please accept a garland.
Sending ours to you as well.
Hare Krishna. Your blessing, Maharaj.
What Kaviraj Goswami says with regard to the Trinadapi Sunichena Tororapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Wear this sloka around your neck like a garland. Garland yourself with this.
And with the thread of the holy name. Is that correct, Maharaj?
It sounds correct.
I believe so. It is so much. Yeah. Beautiful. So, Maharaj devotees are gathering together, and we are in the Srila Sridhar Swami Seva Ashram, our temple, the temple of Gurudev, established there under the guidance of Guru Maharaj, established just near the Parikram path, just near Manasi Ganga, which is where we started yesterday on our parikrama, and we reached yesterday to Sri Govinda Kund. So often when we are there, physically as it were, in Govardhan, we do take 2 days to go around the Govardhan hill, and we do go to Govinda Kund, and then to the end of Govardhan hill, up the other side, and then return from the other side of Manasi Ganga, return to our temple at the completion of the first day of parikrama, and then the second day of parikrama, we try to do the second half, rejoining where we left off.
Move this a little bit. Yeah.
All right. And in the last few minutes, more and more devotees have joined. But let us begin. We're a couple of minutes in. And let us start by giving the jais clearly to Jai Shri Anu Giriraj Ju Ki Jai. Jai to Srila Gurudev, Om Vishnu Pad, Srila Bhakti Sundar, Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai.
I have.
Jai to Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakhak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And Jai to Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. And Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai.
Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
And just because it's in my mind, you hear Maharaj telling the Sridhar Swami Seva Ashram. So why Gurudev using Swami there? Generally, when we say Sridhar Swami, means the principal commentator of the Bhagavatam. And it's another aspect of Srila Saraswati Thakur giving this name to Guru Maharaj. We mentioned some things the other day, but that means his opinion is above all others. It's just one more aspect. But so Sridhar Swami is the great Bhagavad commentator. Guru Maharaj is known throughout Gaudiya Math as Sridhar Maharaj. So why here Gurudev putting Swami? He said because, and there's the Bengal side, UP side, UP, Delhi, Vrindavan. He said they're using Maharaj for those who may not be in the renounced order of life. Like we've seen, they're calling someone Maharaj or Maharajji as an honorific, right? Even, the Radharaman Goswamis, they have this name. Remember when I first went, I was a little wondering, they're grihastas, but they have the name Goswami, so it's a name, title, etc. He said, but on this side, they will not use the title Swami to someone who is not in the renounced order of life. So to distinguish, in this case, Srila Guru Maharaj, as you know, Jati Rajagana, same, the crown jewel of the sannyasi. He's putting Sridhar Swami Seva Ashram and Dvaita Das Seva Kunj. As we heard, the Gaudiya Mat Pranam used for Srila Saraswati Thakur say, Sri Barshabhanavi Devi Dvaitaya Kripabdaye, Krishna Sambandha Vijnana, etc. Anyway, Sri Barshabhanavi Devi means Srimati Radharani, Barshabhanavi Devi Dvaita. So who's very dear to her. So Gurudev calling this the Dvaita Das Seva Kunj. And as we told the other day, because Saraswati Thakur envisioned himself, his holy aspiration to serve, render his service, and that of his group from Govardhan. Yes, Maharaj. So where are we going today?
Well, Maharaj, we have Paramananda Prabhu with us, and I think he will be sad if we don't once just go down from Govinda Kund, because we can. We are not limited by physical distance, as it were, today. And down at the end of the tail, the Putchuri, that very tail of Govardhan Hill, the tail of the peacock of Govardhan Hill. Then there is Lautika Baba, they call Putchurika Lautika Baba Mandir. And Paramananda always sees this deity that is there and feels very much sadness and sweetness. So I think we should mention this, because it's told that Lautika Baba, he was cooking for Krishna and Balaram when he saw the chariot come by as Akrura was taking them to Mathura. And then ever since then, and then Krishna said, oh, okay, we can't take now, but we'll come back and take. And so he's sitting there until now, waiting for Krishna and Balaram to return. So
it's too sad, too much sad.
Too much sad. So Maharaj, we can continue to there, and then that's the point where we turn back, as it were, and we come back up the other side of Govardhan Hill. And there are places that we do pass by. For instance, Surabhi Kund, where it's told that the Surabhi cow, Indra knew that Krishna's heart will be softened if Surabhi, the cow Surabhi, will make an appeal to Krishna on his behalf to forgive Indra for his offenses. So the Surabhi Kund is there, and we sometimes hear of these leelas. And just after that is Airavata Kunda. Both of these are very kind of quiet places on the Parikram path. And Airavata Kunda is where Airavata, the elephant of King Indra, stored the Ganges water in preparation for doing the Abhishek of Govinda. And then Maharaj, we kind of quickly pass up the other side of the hill, past Jetipur or Jatipur, and that was a town where the sadhus would live, a famous town that the sadhus would live. And then presently coming back up to Govardhan town and the other side of Manasi Ganga, where we started from, but we started one side and we are on the opposite side. And now we are passing along and we come down. The first place to stop basically today, which will be the second day of Parikrama, would be Uddhava Kunda. And there we will generally come in, pay our obeisances to the deities at the entrance, give a little donation, and then come to the Kund and sit on the steps there. And there we will come and sit and hear from Srila Goswami Maharaj. So we pray we may be graced with a similar event today.
Hare Krishna. And we would be remiss if we did not mention today's the Tirubhav Maha Mahotsav Tithi of Vasudev Ghosh. Right. And if you're, we always think, Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshadi Gaya, that Vasudev Ghosh. So we're singing his name every day. I mean, that he's been so beautifully included in the Gaura Arti of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, and one of the Astasakis, and very fervent prayer and with great intensity, expressing his, you can say appreciation seems understatement for Gauranga. And this was very favorite to Guru Maharaj, the song of Vasudev Ghosh, where he says, Jadi Gaur no hoita, tabiki hoita, kamari doritam dehe, Radhar Mahima Prema Rasasima Jagata Janato Ke. As we hear in Charitamritam, the reason for the descent of Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrushobhana Eva Swadya Yenadbhuta Madhurima Kidrusham Madhya Sokyam Chasya Maranubhavata Kidrusham Beti Lobhat Tadbhavadya Samajani Sachi Garva Sindhu Harindu, saying these three reasons to experience what the type of love that Srimati Radharani alone possesses. That means Mahabhav, Mahabhav Swarupini, Radha Thakurani. Elsewhere described Mahabhav Chintamani. It's those who come in connection with her miraculously come in connection with this divine substance. To taste what she's tasting, like that song Gurudev would sing that Siddhanti Maharaj included in Religion of the Heart about Shamanam, and the Radha Baba Duti Subolita. So that's, and there's extraordinary slokas in Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam, which are attributed to Swarup Damodar, right? And presented at the very beginning as the foundation for what is going to be expressed in Sri Chaitanya Charitamritam. What did Guru Maharaj call it? The superstructure. Right? But that said, here in this song of Vasudev Ghosh, that is included in a very sweet way. And because he says, Radhar Mahima, the greatness of Radharani, Prema Rasasima, and the limits, or in this case, the unlimits of her Krishna Prem, which is again a codified reference to Mahabhav. But he adds this to it, which makes it somehow even more beautiful. He said, Jagata Janata Ke, if Gauranga had not come, we would have never known this. It would be unknown in the world. And Guru Maharaj is inside, he's saying, Vasudev Ghosh is such a devotee that if there's a world where this is unknown, he can't imagine living in such a world. Right? He, in the same song, he says that about himself. He said, how is it possible that by taking the name of Gauranga, my heart has not become melted? That is impossible. The sweet name of Gauranga has not melted my heart. Who is this creator that made this stone-like heart? Right? So that Vasudev Ghosh, he's saying, so if Gauranga had not come, the greatness of Radharani, and her Mahabhav, love for Krishna, would be unknown in the world, and that's not a world worth living. He can't imagine that. And then Srila Guru Maharaj would say, because he'd say, if Gauranga had not come, how could we live? It would be impossible to live. Right? And then Guru Maharaj has Vasudev saying, but I see for some time you're living in the world without connection with Gauranga. I just said it's impossible to live without this connection, but for some time you are living without this connection with Gauranga. Yeah. Oh, in anticipation of this connection with Gauranga, you were living for some. That I can understand. Otherwise, it is impossible to live. So very intense. It's a song, but with such intensity, and can be, mined, all these chintamani jewels of encrypted Siddhanta about Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And today is his Tirobhav. So we are at Kusum Sarovar or Uddhava Kunda or same.
Uddhava Kunda, Maharaj.
I see.
And perhaps too, because devotees have joined along the way, they've caught up with us. And let us, first of all, as we've come together and we've given our obeisances to the deities, let us give our obeisances to each other, Maharaj, and our obeisances. So, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasindhubhya evacha, Patitanam Bhavane Vaishnave Namaha. So, Maharaj, at Uddhava Kunda, maybe put a little asan for you, comfortable asan.
Hare Krishna, don't, Maharaj.
Invite you to speak.
I have not come to Uddhava Kunda to ascend an asan.
Okay.
And especially in light of what the teachings of Uddhava are. Who aspires to be a blade of grass in that plain, then what could possibly be my position? I can only think when Bhaktivinode Thakur signs the Kalyana Kalpataru, the Jarudar, thus in the Namhat of Nityananda Prabhu, Bhaktivinode is the sweeper in the Namhata of Nityananda Prabhu. And beautifully, Srila Saraswati Thakur says, if Bhaktivinode Thakur is the sweeper in the Namhata of Nityananda Prabhu, then consider me as one of the straws in his broom. And interestingly, Guru Maharaj said that if we take it that this is a sincere expression, which it is, he said, then you can understand the unit for the construction of the Swarup. It is constructed of such aspiration and serving tendencies. So we think of Srila Guru Maharaj when he was touring South India, and he met a so-called Shrutadar, someone who whatever they've heard, they can remember that. And they have total recall of everything they've ever heard. Right? And this man had committed the entire Srimad Bhagavatam to memory. So we're generally told it's 18,000 slokas, 16,000 extent. So he knows them all. So I thought it's a little ironic because we talk about the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat. But hold that thought. Because there's Bharabhyahi and Saragrahi. Right? So he's carrying those 18,000 slokas, 16 extent. Right? So Srila Guru Maharaj said to him, in your estimation, who are the greatest devotees that you discover in the pages of the Bhagavatam? And he said, the four Kumaras, Chatushan, they're sometimes known as. And then he asked Guru Maharaj, and what is your opinion? And Srila Guru Maharaj said sweetly, they're in the lowest position. He said, then he took 2 slokas to establish who is occupying the highest position. And that's why I allude to Bhaktivinode Thakur's Barabhyahi and Saragrahi. Barabhyahi means someone who's carrying Shastric knowledge like an ass, like asses they use to carry. We've seen some, this. Sometimes it's very heart-wrenching. You see this little ass and a huge amount of weight upon them, and they're struggling on carrying that. Right? And I'm saying this because Bhaktivinode Thakur says it, so don't mind it. Right? But he's giving that example, saying carrying so much Shastric knowledge, right? But like as a burden. Right? But on the other side, he says the Saragrahi, one who grasps the essence, the cream, the most essential part, as we heard in his song, O Saragrahi Vaishnav soul, thou art an angel fair. And I like to use that as the caption for Srila Guru Maharaj and Sri Guru and His Grace. So Srila Guru Maharaj, he takes one sloka from the lotus mouth of Krishna himself. Na tata priyatama atmayonir na shankara na cha sankarshana na sri naivatma cha yatha bhavan. We were telling the other day, 3 Haridas Varjas, Giriraj Govardhan, Yudhisthira, the one Uddhava. So here, from no less than the lotus mouth of Krishna, he's saying, there is no one more dear to me than Uddhava, you, my dear Uddhava, not Atma-bhu Brahma, Sankarshan, what did you say? Nacha Sankarshana Sri, Naivatma, but I missed one. Nacha, Natata Priyatama, Atmayonir, na Shankara, right? Shankar means Shiva. So not Brahma, not Shiva, then Sankarshan. Notice he didn't say Baladev or Balaram, but so these words are carefully selected. Nacha Sankarshana Sri, not even Lakshmi Devi, said, is as dear to me as you are, my dear Uddhava. And we've been mentioning in the Brihad Bhagavatamritam of Srila Sanatana Goswami Prabhu that twice his book is taking us in this direction to what will come from the mouth of Uddhava. So with one sloka, Guru Maharaj is establishing the position of Uddhava, with no less than Krishna himself saying, you're Priyatama, Priya Uttama, most dear to me. So then the next natural question is, what does Uddhava say? And Uddhava says, Asamaho charanareno jishama hangshang Vrindavane kimapi gulma latosadinam yadushtajam swajanamarjapatam chahitva bejur mukunda parivrim shrutibir vamrigyam. That what the Shrutis, the Vedas, they're searching for and pointing the particular direction. He's saying that Radharani and the Braja Gopis, they've got that very thing, right? Which means Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna at the right hand of Radharani. He's saying they're so exalted. How did he come to understand this? In the Bhagavatam, we hear when the Braja Gopis, who cannot tolerate the blink of an eye of separation from Krishna, That's an intolerable amount of time for them. Remember, again, back to religion in the heart, in the Shama Nam song, Gurudev says, no amount of union will ever satisfy the devotees. Right? They're always left hankering for more. So the Rasa Leela, we're told, is Brahmaratri, a night of Brahma. That means 4,300,000,000 years. And what do they say? It was like the blink of an eye. Right? They're left hankering for more. Right? Maharaj is talking about the contraction and expansion of time and space as we go on this parikrama in this divine domain. So that night of Brahma, of union, was like the blink of an eye. And then what do they say in the Gopi-gita with regard to the blink of an eye and separation? Why separation is considered more intense and of a greater magnitude of heart, yielding a superior type of prem. Atati yadbhavan anikananam tutir yugayate tamapasyatam kutila kundalam srimukam jate yada udikshasham pakshmakridrasham. The Braja Gopis are cursing Brahma for making eyes that blink. Right? We hear in Vrindavan when the cowherd boys and others are going with Krishna and Balaram in the forest, if a tree comes between them and Krishna, it's intolerable that they didn't see Krishna while they were, the tree. So what do they say? This creator, and remember, they're half civilized jungle girls, according to Guru Maharaj. Although when they appear in Gaur Leela, they're writing the most scholarly books and everything. So how's it right? Deceptive simplicity of Vrindavan. And Swarup Damodar can weigh in on that. But at any rate, so what do they say? The creator, he's a fool. He doesn't know how to make eyes properly. What is this blinking? We're drinking the nectar of the beauty of Krishna, then the blinking. And what is that blinking? What is that? Yugayate, right? Trutir yugayate. It's like a yuga. So now we're back. So the inversion, union, a night of Brahma was insufficient, left them, it was like a blink of an eye. But in separation, the blink of an eye is like a day of Brahma, intolerable to them. So on the plea of assuaging the anguish of separation in the hearts of the Braja Gopis, Krishna sent Uddhava with his message to them. And we hear that comes out in the Rath Yatra pastimes. There's a Chintamani thread connecting all these things. And they're telling Krishna, when you sent him with that message, we were not very happy. In fact, we were angry because what does Krishna tell them in essence? Like, oh, you should take up yoga and learn to meditate. He's telling the Braja Gopis that. And he's saying, because God is everywhere. And that really makes me like Krishna is telling them, God is everywhere and in everything. And if you learn to meditate, then you'll be able to always see him everywhere and everything. There, Krishna, please, you know who we are. Ahushchate nalina naba padaravindam yogeshware hridibichantam agada bodhe sangsara kupa patito taranavalam geham jashamapi manasudiyat sadana. And their answer is very beautiful. They say, we're fallen householders, just lost in the family life, but actually we want family life with you. And we won't be satisfied with anything less than that. So stop with the yoga or gyan. We should learn to cultivate some type of meditation, or please. So imagine Uddhava, he's going to, and if in this way you will, and we see that Srimati Radharani, she is spun off in her own divine madness, and this is the subject matter of the Bhagavad-gita, of which Srila Guru Maharaj is considered the expert. And we cannot say those things, but one verse gives us, that is safe to say, gives us some indication of what is there, where Srimati Radharani says, Yadanucharita lila karna piyusha viprut sakrida dana viduta danda dharma vinashta. He's saying, if one drop of the nectar of hearing about Krishna, like Krishna karanamritam, one drop of that nectar touches your heart, your life was ruined. You're finished. So what she is expressing appears to be loving anger, or her irritation, annoying with Krishna, but actually everything's inverted. And she's saying, really, what is the power of one drop of Krishna Katha to finish your material life? What life is finished? Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kavi viriditam kalmasha apaham sravana mangalam srimad-atatam bhuvi granantite burida jana, the Gopi-gita. They're saying this is life-giving nectar for those who are in the world of suffering. And suffering, all suffering is on account of forgetfulness of Krishna or separation from Krishna. Right? So ours forgetfulness of Krishna, that's suffering. Braja Gopis, they're suffering separation from Krishna. Wonderfully, beautifully, the cure is the same. To talk about Krishna, to hear about Krishna. And Srila Guru Maharaj gave, as usual, a perfect example about that powerful drop of Krishna nectar for the ear. He said, there are some thieves, there's a safe with tumbler, and he said, they put a drop of this acid or substance on there, and it burns a hole through, and then the tumbler's unlocked, and then the door opens. He's saying it has that type of potency. And we heard that in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, and it's revisited again in the end. Vidyate hridaya granti chidyante sarva shangshaya. That the heart, lust has a stranglehold on the heart, which is preventing the natural flow of love from the heart. Rag, anurag, raga bhakti. So Krishna mercifully appears, Madan Mohan, to break that stranglehold. Madan Mohan, he is so beautiful, so charming, so sweet and attractive, to cut those knots of the stranglehold on the heart and release the natural flow of love. So Uddhava, when he's delivering this message, he's seeing their response, and particularly Srimati Radharani. So that later, when, as Gurudev says, remember, about Mahaprabhu, you want to understand Mahaprabhu? One line, what is his tasting matter? After Advaita Acharya gives release, and he goes behind closed doors in the Gangbira with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, it's mentioned, what are they hearing there? Gita Govinda of Jayadev, Jagannath Balavan Natak of Ramananda, songs of Chandidas, Vidyapati, Krishna Karnamritam, and what? It says, Uddhava Darshan. So what does that mean? You can say it's code for Brahma-gita, because that's what takes place at the Uddhava Darshan. So Uddhava singing the praises of gopis. What is that verse? Bande Nanda Brajastrinam Padarenum Abhikshnasha Yasam Hari-katha Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. These Braja Gopis, like in this month of Damodar, when they're singing all these songs in praise of Krishna, Mother Yashoda hears others. They made some song for Krishna. She likes very much. She's singing that song. They're exchanging, praising that way. That's his general praise to all of them. But when he observed firsthand the divine madness of Srimati Radharani and her group, the Braja Gopis, that awakened this aspiration within him to get the dust of their holy lotus feet. But Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur will say that he knows they won't give it. They may be half civilized jungle girls, but they understand what is the etiquette. This is Uddhava, this exalted personality who looks like Krishna, sometimes wearing the clothing of Krishna, come from Dwarka. He knows all the Dwarka queens and all their extraordinary qualities and capacity. And that Uddhava, that supremely worshipable person, he knows they would never consent to give the dust from their lotus feet. Because we heard in Krishna's headache that when Narada came there, remember Krishna then Dwaraka suffering from a headache and says, I need feet dust from a devotee to cure. And Narada approaches the queens of Dwaraka and they're thinking, have you gone mad? No way. And Narada, you're a devotee, give your feet to us. Why are you approaching us? Aren't Premaika Nishta, you're such an exalted devotee. No one wants to give. He goes back to Krishna, still suffering. Hurry, said no one will give there because there's some calculation there about the consequence of putting their feet dust. Although we hear from Gurus that Mother Yashoda, when sadhus come to the house, she's taking their feet dust, sprinkling on. But anyway, he says, then go to Braja. Like Sharanam Braja, Braja Sharanam. Again, to see, always to shine a spotlight on the Sharanagati of the Braja Gopis. Sarvadharmam parichajamam ekam Sharanam Braja, Braja Sharanam. So he goes there and they're wondering, how is Krishna? He's saying, generally doing well, but as of today, he has a headache and said he needs feet dust from a devotee to cure that headache. And they're immediately giving, and they're saying, I don't know if I'm a devotee, but if this will help, he's saying, well, aren't you afraid of the consequences and the eternal hell? No, but Krishna will get some relief. So in the Rath Yatra, again, those pastimes, we're told the Braja Gopis have no self-consciousness in this sense. They're so wholly given over to Krishna. We should understand the distinction between self-annihilation and self-oblivion. They're not the same thing. Self-oblivion means to be so wholly given over to the other while retaining one's identity. Self-annihilation is another thing, right? So he is the eyewitness to this unparalleled devotion that's for Krishna, that's in possession of Radharani. What do we have? Radhar Mahima Prema Rasasima. And so he's witnessing that. So, but he needs a strategy to how to get the dust from their holy lotus feet, because they're not going to give willingly. So he comes up with this idea. Asamaho charanarenu jishama hangshang. That's my aspiration. What is the next line? Vrindavane kimapi guma latosani. Guma, lata, oshut, all these things. A blade of grass, a creeper, an herb, something, an atomic presence in that plane. So he'll be disguised there. So when Radha, Padman, Kitadam, Vrindavan, Jaranam, that divine soil embellished with the holy lotus footprints of Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis in service to her, Radha Dasyam, when they're moving in that plane, some of the dust from their holy lotus feet will come upon him like an abhishek. He'll be bathed in the feet dust of the Braja Gopis and thereby consecrate his existence. That is his prayer. That is his aspiration. So with these two slokas, Guru Maharaj quote, first one from Krishna to establish the position of Uddhava, then from the mouth of Uddhava saying that he wants to be, have an atomic presence in the soil of Vrindavan to receive the feet dust of Radharani and Braja Gopis. And that way, Guru Maharaj established the supreme position of Srimati Radharani and the Braja Gopis, her friends and their assistants. This comes to mind when we approach Uddhava Kunda.
And the deities here at Uddhava Kunda, Maharaj, we only know them as Radha and Krishna, but they're told that they're very ancient deities, and some say go back to the time of Vajranath, the grandson or great-grandson perhaps of Lord Krishna.
Yeah. That Vajranath, it seems he was very fond of deities.
Quite prolific, yes, Maharaj.
And we're still the beneficiaries.
Yes. So Maharaj, now we shall continue. If it is your wish, we can continue. And the continuation, because we're going clockwise, now we'll come towards the other end of Govardhan Hill from where we were before. Putchuri was the tail, and now the opposite end, which is Radha Kund and Shyama Kund. But as we already have given some attention there, and just very recently, the manifestation day of Radha Kund, Bahulastami, then we can come there briefly to Raghunath Das Goswami's Samadhi, which is we always come to first to take permission there, but we can come around to Lalita Kund and to some of the other places, Maharaj, on the way around Radha Kund and Shyama Kund Parikrama.
Yes,
so
Maharaj. I'll say this one brief thing about Das Goswami because it comes to mind, and then you please speak about those places. We were told in the song, Mukhe Radha Radha Bole, Beshe Nayanera Jale, Radhe Radhe. He's the one who was chanting Radhe Radhe. That is reserved for Das Goswami, right? And what crawling on his hands and knees in Radha Kunda with tears streaming down his eyes, drenching his clothes, he's taking her holy name. That Das Goswami who says, Ashavare Amrita Sindhu, his aspiration is the service of her holy lotus feet. So please, Mars, explain about the places that we did not
okay,
honor.
Mars, so let us have some kirtan so that our journey can go smoothly. And I think we need Pancha Tattva and 3 Maha Mantras in this case. And then we'll come, while doing this, we'll visit to Raghunath Das Goswami, give our obeisances, and go just a little further on, turn left, and then we'll stop first at the Bhaktivinode Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's bhajan-kutir, just nearby there. So let us have 3 Maha Mantras and make our journey in this way. Please.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Radha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Gopal. In remembrance of Madhavendra Puri and his worship of Gopal, I told how he brought 2 Bengalis to Govardhan to worship, and I prayed, I said, at least please give me 1 Bengali, and I'm seeing Nitya Gopal Prabhu. Can you turn on his mic? And he can say he knows these places as well. Hare Krishna. Oh, and they're with Amya Sindhu Prabhu. Is that right? I can't see.
Say something. Hear us, Maharaj.
Dandavad, we can hear you. Jai Nitya Gopal Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Jai Dandavad Maharaj. Dandavad. All devotee, very, very happy to see you all.
And we're happy to see you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
We are missing your association and your prasad. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
now mission to join Zoom, so now I can follow always.
Yes. And Bengal, it's called Jum. Hare Krishna. Anyway, we're very happy to see you, Prabhu. We're waiting for you to come with us again, and also to have the darshan of Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundarji. There, Hare Krishna.
Sure, Maharaj. Yeah.
All right.
Very nice.
Dandavad. Dandavad.
Maharaj.
Yes, a happy welcome and obeisances to Nitya Gopal Prabhu, our dear brother there on that side of the world. Jai. So Gopal Prabhu
that side of the world is called Navadvip Dham.
Navadvip Dham, yeah. Jai. So
as I like to just interject at this point, when I was leaving Navadvip Dham, leaving Srila Guru Maharaj, and always before going, I go to his room, and Gurudev to take the garland from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and then Guru Maharaj put the garland, and then hug me, and I'd be so happy. And he'd say one time, he goes, and now our Goswami Maharaj is going to a remote corner of the world. You know, and I thought, like, hey Krishna, there's Guru Maharaj. And I thought, I'm going to San Francisco, you know, to California. And Guru Maharaj could see my face. I mean, it's sweet, but he said, and then he said, like there you see in that picture, he said, this is your home. He's saying, Navadvip, that is our home. This is your home. And he said, and for some time, in service to Navadvip Dham, you're going to some remote corner of the world. I thought, all right, then I can adjust with, yeah. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Yes.
So with Harinam Sankirtan, then we've come now from Uddhava Kunda, and we've come down to the bhajan-kutir of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur originally. He purchased a small cottage there near to Radha Kund and Shyama Kund, and called Braja Svananda Sukhada Kundra. And then after the passing away, the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur, then this cottage stayed within the family, as it were, and this was the bhajan-kutir then of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And it's a very humble cottage. And inside there, the pujari who's looking, the brahmachari who's looking after the bhajan-kutir, he, if he's around, happily lets us come in and see the original paraphernalia of at least of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And it includes his bed and chair and various things. And they point out, seem to be quite happily, that Srila Saraswati Thakur, he was revolutionary, and although it is very much the custom in India, in that part of village India, to go out into the field to do one's latrine business.
Hare Krishna.
But he installed a latrine as a practical thing within the cottage. And so the pujari also happily points this out and saying how Srila Saraswati Thakur was unorthodox but practical. He didn't necessarily follow the traditions, but he was very practical. So this is very humble cottage, and we also understand this bungalow. It is where he stayed, even that time where the famous photograph is taken, where he's seated in a large motor car and visiting Radha Kund, staying at Radha Kund and visiting Govardhan Hill in a motor car, and showing how everything will be utilized in Krishna's service. And this cottage is a stop on our parikrama when we have the opportunity. So today we have that opportunity to come here and give our obeisances to where Srila Bhaktivinode Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, both of them, would stay while on pilgrimage and making their pilgrimage to Radha Kund, Shyama Kund and Govardhan Hill. I'm not quite sure what we're seeing there, but there is a very similar chair to Guru Maharaj's, as Goswami Maharaj described as a plantation chair, is there. Oh, I saw what was there. That was a shoe. Yes, I had it out of perspective. That was apparently one of the shoes worn by perhaps Srila Saraswati Thakur, I'm not sure. But anyhow, the original building, the original place, and very humble, but very sweet. And from here, then we'll have it's hardly even one Mahamantra. So we'll just walk around.
While we are there with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in mind, I just wanted to say that Srila and Shu, Srila Guru Maharaj says that, like we see sometimes when the devotees go on the parikrama, that there's some disciples may mind the shoe if shoes are being worn, and as Saraswati Thakur did, that some disciple might be waiting there with the shoes when it comes out, as a so he didn't have to search for them or something like that, And so we've all seen this, or maybe even done this at different times, but that Srila Guru Maharaj also did that for Srila Saraswati Thakur. Right? We can understand sometimes different devotees are eager, because then you come in connection with the lotus feet and the dust of the lotus feet. There's again some devotional strategy, you might say. But I was just surprised to hear Guru Maharaj say, so he was doing that once, and he's waiting, and Srila Saraswati Thakur comes, and Guru Maharaj is there with the shoes, and he says that Saraswati Thakur said, just these words, he said, he looked at him and said, "Give them to me." But then Guru Maharaj said, like, Katha Ganam Natya Gamanam, that plane where all movement is dance, all speech is song. His gesture was that descended from that plane, and then what he spoke was song. Guru Maharaj said, these were the sweetest words he'd ever heard. They were so beautifully expressed. And all he said was, "Give them to me." That like touched the heart of Guru Maharaj deeply. So what is the magnitude of appreciation and the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj for Srila Saraswati Thakur? That's a little instance, but then what comes to mind is, Mahad Adbhuta Pavana Shakti Padam Pranamami Sada Prabhupada Padam. Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj.
And Maharaj, just around the corner, we come to Lalita Kund, which is just separated from Shyama Kund and Radha Kund, just by the pathway, what's now a road that we walk across. And so generally we come to Lalita Kund, literally just around the corner, and take some water there and on our heads. And of Lalita Devi, she's always nearby, ready to render service in any capacity. So this way, her Kund is right beside Shyama Kund and Radha Kund.
And we like to say in this connection, because we did not go to Uchagaon, the house, Lalita Bar, the house of Lalita Saki, and we had this opportunity from Govardhan with the blessings of Srila Gurudev to go, and some devotees, they asked Srila Gurudev if he would like to go, and he said something very interesting, that as Kadam Kandi had some special resonance, with the heart of Srila Guru Maharaj, certified by Srila Saraswati Thakur, that Srila Gurudev felt some special connection with Lalita Bar and Uchagaon, the house of Lalita Saki. And so much so, he said that he had some divine experience there and realization and revelation, and he did not want to go again for fear that that could be altered or anyway diminished. So he wanted to preserve that divine memory. And as recently we mentioned that sloka of Srila Rupa Goswami in praise of Lalita Saki on this very quality. Radha Mukunda Parasam Bhavagarma Bindu Nirmanchano Pakarani Krita Deho Loksham Utunga Sohrada Vishesha Vishat Pragalbam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. That she has the greatest magnitude of eagerness for the least aspect of seva. So devotion is always measured in the inverse, right? No prema gandhasti dharapi mehara. I don't have a scent of the fragrance of Krishna prem, what to speak of a drop. Vasudev Ghosh saying earlier, why my heart will not melt at the singing the name of Gauranga? It must be made out of stone. He's flooded the world. Vishvam Gaura Rase Magnam Sparshopi Mamanabhavat. But Prabodhananda, I wasn't touched by a drop. Banchi tosmi, banchi tosmi, banchi tosmi na sangshaya. I've been cheated, I've been cheated, I've been cheated. Of this, there's no doubt. So they're always, what did Guru Maharaj say? If Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur says that, he said, how do we interpret it? What the magnitude of his appetite, the flood for him, Sparshopi Mamanabha, I wasn't touched by a drop. What's a flood for others is a drop for him. So these kind of things. So the greatest magnitude of eagerness for the least seva, Ishvara Puri, again, right? Oh, Narottam Thakur, again and again. So Srila Gurudev, with regard to Srila Guru Maharaj, the moment he knows something is service to Srila Guru Maharaj, he's eager for that, whatever it is. Any aspect of Mat Seva, he's eager for that. And in a similar way, that Lalita Sakhi's Seva is that no disturbance will enter the plane of Radha Govinda. Right? So Srila Gurudev, he's, as we see, it's metaphorically true and literally true. Guru Maharaj is upstairs on his veranda, Prema Dhamma Deva composing these slokas, and Gurudev may come by to do his laundry or clean his room or whatever, and supply a word or two that Guru Maharaj might be searching for in his poetry, always assisting. Right? Emphasis on sevayat. You say, President, Acharya, sevayat. He's saying, as a service, I'm the president, the Acharya of Chaitanya Saraswati Mat. So he's moving on the plane of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, managing all the seva, so that not the least amount of disturbance will enter Guru Maharaj's realm, where he is going on with his divine thinking and extracting so much spiritual substance. So we cannot but see a parallel between Lalita Sakhi and Srila Gurudev in the intensity of their service, the exclusiveness of their service, and because Gurudev likes to take Guru Maharaj as Radharani surrogate. So if we take Guru Maharaj in that way, then of course Lalita Sakhi comes to mind. Hare Krishna. Your mic is not on. Here we
yes,
go.
Mike. We're back. So taking a little of that water on our head, let's have two Mahamantras. We've got to have two Mahamantras, and let us continue around the parikrama until we come to the Vishram Tala of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Vishram Tala, it is a place where Mahaprabhu rested, and it juts out into the irregular shape, in fact, of Shyama Kund. So two Mahamantras to take us along the way there.
Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And so we've come down the steps, past the tree and into the temple. Yes, this sweet temple, which juts into Shyama Kunda, and from the altar, the place where the altar is inside, then from there we can see both Shyama Kunda and Radha Kunda, a little bit of the opposite side. We can see both Shyama Kunda and Radha Kunda from here. And we generally stop here, and the minimum is that this is a reminder that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself also came on this parikrama, the parikrama of Govardhan Hill that we are doing.
Yes. Devashish Prabhu, I'd like to hear something from you.
Very good, Devashish Prabhu.
Dhanyavad everyone, Dhanyavad Maharaj.
I just have to say, wait, before we begin speaking, he sent me these pictures of the Anukut from the London Mater. Amazing, truly amazing and praiseworthy. So we try here, and we had a wonderful feast for Govardhan Puja as well, but I would have to say that the London Mott exceeded all expectations.
And I have to say the Vila Govinda ashram exceeded all expectations too. Maharaj, amazing. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yes, and on that note, I wanted to say that before Devashish Prabhu began speaking, that Prabhupada was at Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan. He's giving a Bhagavatam class, and this devoted Indian family, they come for darshan of the deities, and they walk right in front of him while he's giving the lecture, and all the devotees, they walk through him and go to the deities, and they're going like that and touching their, and then they walk right through on their way back, right? And when they get out of earshot, Prabhupada says, I'm just telling you what he said. And coming from me, this is very painful. But he said, people are not interested in philosophy. He's holding the book out his glass. He said, practically speaking, I started this whole movement with kirtan and prasadam, right? And then he went on with his Bhagavatam class, Devashish. Jai Prabhupada.
Jai. I wasn't expecting to say anything today, so I haven't really prepared or, even mentally prepared for that. So, but yes, we had a very wonderful festival yesterday at the East London Mott, and it was one little thing that I had with Srila Govinda Maharaj, with Gurudev, that on not every Govardhan Puja day, but some of the Govardhan Puja day, he would call me up in London, and he would say, just when I would answer the phone, he'd say, how many? or he would tell me a number. He would say 115, and that was like how many things were offered in Navadvip for the festival, or Calcutta if you were there. And whatever number I would tell him, it would be always less than what he had arranged. Always, we could never keep with him. And we had at one time, we had a devotee, brahmachari, living in the temple. His name was Sudama Shaka, and a disciple of Guru Maharaj. And he somehow, although he came from Dorset, he was the most expert milk sweet maker that we'd ever known in our mission. And while he was there, he made on every Anukut, he would always make 108 different milk sweets.
Oh,
on that
Lord.
festival.
Hey, Krishna.
Sadly, he's no longer with us in the mission, but yeah. So it's always been like something like that, and we don't make the Govardhan Hill out of halava with the broccoli sprout trees and sweet rice lakes or whatever it is, and circumambulate that as they do. I have a theory as to how that began, and it is just a theory, but I think maybe a workable one. That one of Prabhupada's disciples asked him, so like on this day, what do we do? How do we worship Govardhan Hill? And he'd say, and my speculation is that he replied, you make a mountain of prasadam, a Govardhan Hill of prasadam. And they took it completely literally, right. And thus began the making of the Govardhan Hill of prasadam. Yeah, that they would worship and then eat.
Hey, Krishna.
But we saw, in Navadvip, or in our mission in India, that the offering was, the mountain of rice, and then many things around it. And also Srila Gurudev say, it should be that nothing is left in the kitchen. Everything will be brought to the altar. So
nice.
Then
Beautiful.
we try to do that, as much as possible. And so many devotees, they take part. Beforehand, we'll buy, some containers and give, like 20 to each devotee. Please prepare something and bring it. And if they're not initiated devotees, then we say, bring a box of mangoes, or bring fruits, and this way, so that we can have. Actually, this year is a little less for us because of the COVID. People are still a little bit shy to come to the temple, in such a small temple, and so many people being there. People are a little afraid still, but still, I think it was a respectable offering for Anukut, and we try to satisfy the Lord. I heard that in the time of Guru Maharaj that they made
London Radha Shamasundar.
That they had a meeting that Guru Maharaj convened to work out like what would be the time to actually make the offering, how it would be calculated, the time for making the offering for Anukut. And sometimes it was like a 15-minute window in the day that they would get to make that offering. So obviously, that's not something that we can, imitate. Our offering was, the early afternoon by the time everybody had finished. So we pray that the Lord may accept the intention of that offering. At least we're hoping that was the case. But yesterday, when I gave the talk to the devotees there, I was reflecting how much our mission is connected with the Govardhan Leela of the Lord. We heard that, Guru Maharaj said when he left the Gaudiya mission to go to live, at least initially his idea to go and live alone, that before that he did 1 month vrata of Govardhan Parikrama every day, circumambulating the whole of Govardhan. And when he had completed that, he said, I took the Govardhan Shila and came away and came to Navadvip. And of course, the place that he chose, Gupta Govardhan, where his temple would be, and began with Giriraj, just with Giriraj. And also our London temple too began with Giriraj. We just had Giriraj there and worshipping him, and later by the desire of Guru Maharaj, first Mahaprabhu came, and then Radha Shamsundar came the year after. So, then, and also in 1985, Srila Guru Maharaj gave me my Govardhan Shila also. I'd requested him, by letter, I asked him, I want to do some puja in my home. And I already had, which I bought before, some Gaurnitai deities, like brass Gaurnitai deities. And when I was in ISKCON, I carved some Jagannath deities, small Jagannath deities, and painted them. So that was my idea. With Guru Maharaj's permission, I would worship them. And I wrote a letter to Guru Maharaj asking his permission. And the reply that I got from him was, Harinam is our deity, no other deity necessary for us. But if you want to do some Archan Puja Seva in your home, when you next come, we can discuss. So then later that year, 85, I came to Guru Maharaj for his Vyasa Puja, as we always did. And that means like the week after is the Govardhan Puja, so we usually stay also for that. And this picture that's come up here where Guru Maharaj, he's sitting in that chair, the plantation chair or the Oxford chair as it's sometimes called. I asked him, I reminded him of the letter when I arrived, and I said, you said when I come we can think then, and Guru Maharaj just said, I will consider. And like dismissed me basically with that. And so then I thought, okay, I'm not going to ask him again. And if he remembers, and then that's fine. If he doesn't, then I'm fine with that also. I'm not like going to try and push myself on him with this. So then on that day, it was 1985, and it was Govardhan Puja Day, and Guru Maharaj gave a talk in the morning. And after the talk was finished, we were all going back to our rooms or wherever, and suddenly Guru Maharaj's secretary Bhajan-kutir come. Oh, Guru Maharaj is asking for you. And I thought, oh, okay. Then I went back up to Guru Maharaj's room, and he was sitting in that chair. And on the arm of the chair, he had a white cloth, and on that, a very small Govardhan Shila and a mala made from Radha Kund clay. And then I came forward and made my obeisances, and Guru Maharaj said, so you wanted to do some puja in your home? Then he said, my Guru Maharaj, meaning Saraswati Thakur, he liked that his household of devotees would worship Giriraj Govardhan. So, okay, then I said, so how do I worship him, Guru Maharaj? And he said, it is heart. And I misheard him and thought he said, it is hard. And then I thought, oh no, what have I let myself in for? And I said, it's hard? And then Guru Maharaj laughed and he said, no, not hard, heart. Krishna likes hearts and not so much brains. And then I thought, okay, well, that's good. That's appropriate for me. Then he said, Mahaprabhu gave the Govardhan Shila to Raghunath Das Goswami, and with the Govardhan Shila, the Gunja Mala, and which is the mala made from the berries that grow on the tree in Radha Kund. Then considered by Mahaprabhu to be non-different from Srimati Radharani. Then he said, I am not giving you Gunja Mala, but I have Radha Kund Mala made from the clay of Radha Kund. And that is also Srimati Radharani. So then he said, and Raghunath Das Goswami's worship, just Ganges water and Tulsi leaf. And he said, this is all you need to worship him. No other, nothing else is required. And then I said, well, what about bathing and, arti and all the, Guru Maharaj said, you can do. And then I said, but whatever I start, I'll have to maintain that. Guru Maharaj said, no, as your necessity, family deity according to the necessity of your family. So you just offer Tulsi and water, and whatever you eat, you offer to him before you take that. And simple way.
Hare Krishna.
And so he gave me that Giriraj, and since then he's lived with us. I was going to say he lives in our house, but actually I think we live in his house, and he allows us to try to worship him, to try to satisfy him. And we do. Since that time, I've kept Tulsi Devi in our house also, and every day we try to offer some Tulsi and water, Ganges water, as much as possible by us and whatever we offer, but in a very simple way. And I think, that it's very remarkable that in all of our mission, Chaitanya Saraswati mission, that Giriraj is prominent there. And your own temple as Gupta Govardhan also.
Yeah.
So anyway, Maharaj,
yes,
this is what came in my mind now.
Very good. Glorification of Govardhan, Giriraj Govardhan, and most appropriate. And really, that is the foundation of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, as you said, Guru Maharaj, with two Giriraj Govardhan. And we're continuing on with that aspiration. What are the deities of Saraswati Thakur? Gandharvika Giridhari. So just consistently, this connection is there. Hare Krishna. So Madhusudan Maharaj, where are we?
Well, we've been hearing about this in the peaceful, cooling air of Mahaprabhu's Vishram Tala
God. Oh, yes.
at Shyamakund. And now I think just 2 Mahamantras, even though we've got quite a long way to go, but we'll take a hop, skip and a jump or do parikrama up to Kusum Sarovar, Maharaj. So this means we'll have completed the parikrama of Shyamakund and Radhakund, and from the corner of Radhakund we give our obeisances as we leave, and then we continue up to Kusum Sarovar with 2 Mahamantras from the Chiang Mai team, kindly.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And as we come along the road, then we get the very classic photo of Kusum Sarovar, which has been seen in many places. Here we are on a bit of a misty day, perhaps, but this, oh my goodness, from a drone, the first time I've seen drone footage of Kusum Sarovar. Oh my goodness. So, yeah. This is not the normal way we arrive in Kusum Sarovar. We normally come in from the road.
Look at that.
But very beautifully remade, and with all the steps around, and very classic pilgrimage place. But the Kund itself is mentioned long ago in the ancient Puranas, the Kusum Sarovar lake. And here we've come, and we come upstairs here where we are seeing now, and we find almost only 1 tree, which we see there now too, try to get some shade. And then we hear something still about Mahaprabhu's pilgrimage. And it's mentioned that when Mahaprabhu came to Vrindavan and came to Govardhan, then he bathed here in Kusum Sarovar. And so we take some water again. Probably Paramananda Prabhu will go down with the gong, turn the gong upside down, fill it with water, and give us a good Kusum Sarovar, a splashing of water, and we give our obeisances, then come upstairs, and with kirtan all this while. And then we'll come to hear something more about Govardhan Parikrama. And we are just near Naradavan, which is just along the road on the left. And sometimes we go there, or sometimes we touch on Narada Muni's contributions, of course, here at Kusum Sarovar. So Maharaj, as you wish to express, we are here to hear happily.
Just briefly, that consistent with Srila Saraswati Thakur's motto for Sri Gaudiya Mat, Pujala Ragapat Gaurava Bange, that the Ragapat, the Ragamarg, and by extension, the higher gurus, he's saying that is worshipable to us from 1 step removed with awe, reverence, grandeur. We're trying to serve them. And when they were constructing a house, perhaps in Mayapur, and there's the ground floor and the first floor. That's correct, right? The first floor.
In English, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And from the British point of view. So,
yeah.
So
which India follows, yes.
Yeah. We're following that line. And so when Saraswati Thakur said that his room would be on the ground floor, then the devotees were a little bewildered. They're saying, like, who could possibly be on the first floor above you? You understand? Like, and so they're wondering, like, who's that for? And he said, oh, that is for our superior gurus. He said, we will stay here and there in the higher plane. So always he's consistently showing this position that from one step removed to serve the higher section. So we hear from Srila Guru Maharaj, again, Govardhan being the plane of our service aspiration. And he's saying in the upper world, and those divine forms of our Sri Guru Varga, they're reside in Govardhan, and they go to Kusum Sarovar. Kusum means flower, right? Sarovar means like lake. Kusum Sarovar. The gopis, they go there and collect flowers, and then go and remember every Vaikuntya, Prithiviyadi, Sakala Chinmoy. In this plane, everything is Chinmoy and not generic, but enriched with the highest sort of self-sacrificing, self-offering devotional tendency. They're collecting those flowers and going, and Guru Maharaj's words, serving the superior gurus in Radha Kunda, and then retiring to Govardhan. But he's saying, collecting the flowers from Kusum Sarovar. And I was reflecting upon this earlier today, that it's part to this day of Bengali culture, which Maharaj can verify, but other parts, and you know, that we've seen, the people go early in the morning and collect flowers for puja. Right? You can see them and not just the devotees, we think, oh, we do that. But in Bengal, and where we live particularly, you would see people out in the morning, you know, collecting flowers. Beautiful. And then going back, and then you hear the little bells ringing and maybe a conch or two, and very sweet part of Bengali culture. Sometimes when we say Bengali, we mean divine. Right? Like Gurudev would say, then Srup Damodar Sloka, where he talks about which comes first. As Guru said, the giver or the giver, Gaur Leela or Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna were one, they became two. So Gaur Leela, Krishna Leela. So Gurudev would say, little teasingly, he said, so which is the original language then, Sanskrit or Bengali? So Bengali is, they say, oh, it's so this percentage Sanskrit, or is Bengali the original and then Sanskrit is coming? And we're told the Braja Gopis, they're not Sanskritians, at least in the past times. We know again in Gaur Leela how much Sanskrit they are knowing. But they, when they talk to Devatas, that's the language of the Devatas, Sanskrit. Otherwise, they have their own language there. And there are a few lines of that given in Charitamritam by Kaviraj Goswami. You can read, and we can't repeat that for just, it's there. How Srimati Radharani talks in the Prema Gondasti section of, where is it, Madhya Lila, chapter 2. It has the way she speaks these things. It's incredibly sweet and beautiful. So they have their own way of talking. But why did I say that? About the language and here, collecting flowers, the Kusum Sarovar. So, and this comes to mind as well, that when Srila Saraswati Thakur was giving second initiation, Gayatri mantrams to one devotee, they are Sanskritians, so they know some Sanskrit. I mean, it used to be compulsory in Bengal high school. So, and according to Sanskar and where they're born. So after getting the mantrams, they're discussing the pushpaban part of one mantra, right? Flower arrows, and what that might mean. And we're not here to try and explain that, but to say that Guru Maharaj was there. So he's with Saraswati Thakur. They've left the room now. They're outside and they're discussing this. And Guru Maharaj is in the presence of Srila Saraswati Thakur, and they can overhear the eagerness with which the new initiates are discussing this. And Guru Maharaj said, Srila Saraswati Thakur turned and he had this pained look upon him. He said, I have been trying to offer a flower to the holy body of Krishna for so long. He said, as if to suggest thousands and thousands of lifetimes. That I have been trying to offer a flower to the holy body of Krishna for so long, and as yet I am unsuccessful. Right? So, if not for Srila Guru Maharaj, we could hear something like that and think, the leader is saying this, the leader of you all. He is expressing, how discouraging. Never heard something more discouraging. Your leader is admitting, But Srila Guru Maharaj says, in this way, said, Krishna consciousness is so high, so wonderful, so noble, the ultimate noble pursuit. After, and it connects with his talk that he gave about Krishna Prem, saying, and so in the sense, unattainable, not attaining that, you cannot give up the search, the pursuit. It's so high, so wonderful, and in Guru Maharaj's words, heart swallowing, that you can't give up. So he's saying, that having not achieved this for thousands of lifetimes, so compelling, so irresistibly drawn in attraction, can't give up the pursuit. That's how wonderful, how high and extraordinary is. And this is something from deep within the heart of Srila Saraswati Thakur, what he means by expressing these things known to him. But so I think something very beautiful, that we don't take these things for granted. We hear collecting flowers in that upper domain. This gives us a hint of so many things that might be considered. Right? Hare Krishna, Madhusudan Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, at your service. You say, Maharaj.
We conclude this evening.
All right. And whatever you choose to sing, we can be walking back to our Srila Sridhar Swami Seva ashram from Kusum Sarovar, chanting whatever you choose to sing there, Maharaj.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
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 Yadavaya Kesavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raguna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna Echai Gochai Kori Charana Bandhan Jaha Hoite Viganash Abhishta Puran Echai Gochai Jarmui Tarodas Tansabara Padarenu Mora Panchagras Tandara Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas Janame More Abhilas Echai Gochai Jabe Braje Koilovas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Sri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Aman Sri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kodiyas Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottamadan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gaur Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Gaur Hari Bo Jai Gaur Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Gaur Hari Bo Jai Sri Brajamandal Parikrama Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajagacharya Sattara Sri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda Sundar Ji Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasudeva Ghosh Bhaktivinode Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Govinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. That Anu Giriraj? Hare Krishna. Well, that was unexpected. Huh? Yeah. 108th Pradeep. Hare Krishna. Jai. Shri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Shri Brajamandal Parikrama Ki Jai, Tirubha Mahamahotsabati, Vasudev Ghosh Ki Jai, Ganga Devi, Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Om Vishnupad, Vishvavarena, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Vimalava Dut Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, Sannyasi Brinda Ki Jai, Jai Sri Devashish Prabhu Ki Jai, Seva Brinda Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai, Nitai Go Premanande.
Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai, Shama Sundari Devi Dasi Ki Jai, the Tomps Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Nice group there. Divya Shakti Didi Ki Jai, Dandavat. Sri Hari Prabhu in Brazil, Dandavat. Elena, mother of Jamuna and Doyamoy, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Devashish Prabhu, our London secretary of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, Dandavat Prabhu. Kalindi Priya, and thanks for the glorification of Giriraj Govardhan. Hare Krishna. And showing how merciful Srila Guru Maharaj could be in situations like that. Kalindi Priya Didi Dandavat. Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu in Vrindavan Dandavat. At Govinda Land Dandavat. Paramananda Prabhu at Govinda Farm Dandavat. Vrivda Devi Dasi and Nizhny Novgorod Dandavat. Krishna Priya Didi Dandavat. Brajalatika Didi and Raja and Ors Dandavat. Achyutananda and Yaroslavl Dandavat. Krishna Mohini Didi Dandavat. Keshavananda Prabhu Dandavat. Didn't see you there. He could have told us somewhere. Well, tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Sandeep, Maheshwari and Janvi Dandavat. Jai Srila Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj and Abhazia Dandavat. Maruchand Didi and Virachandra Prabhu in Ukraine Dandavat. Where is that? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vijay Krishna Prabhu and Leelamoy Dandavat. Odarja Leela Didi Dandavat. Gaurachandra Prabhu Dandavat. Hare Krishna. And that is our Krishna Kanta Didi. Dandavat. The Vila Govinda Bhakta Vrinda. Leela Shakti Devi Dasi Dandavat. Tunga Rasa Dasi Dandavat. Madhavi Lata and Odessa Dandavat. Jai Srila Bhakti Ashray Dandi Maharaj Dandavat. Leela Sundar Prabhu Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu Dandavat. Pavan Krishna Prabhu Dandavat. Pavel Brun Dandavat. Suleka in Kiev Dandavat. Ashapurna Didi Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Nadia Priya Didi Dandavat. Here. Yes. Indumukhi Dandavat and Minimukhi and your associate Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Ni hao. Hare Krishna. In China. Anjali Dandavat. And with Heaven Boy Dandavat. Anjali, Dandavat. Sulek, who else? Nadia Priya, Madhavi Lata. Jamuna is here. Nityananda Das here. Rasananda and Kiev. Dandavat, Leela Shakti. Ajitasha Didi, Dandavat. Dhananjay Prabhu, Dandavat. Sulakshana Didi doing Chinese translation from here. Praneshwari Didi, Dandavat. I don't know. Narayani, Dandavat. Sri Lekha Didi, Dandavat. Jaganmata Didi, Dandavat. Nalina in China and Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Well, did I miss anyone? Chandrakanti Didi, Renuka Didi, Paramananda Das, Dandavat. At the Veda Vita Yoga, Dandavat. Oh, Munendra Mohan Prabhu, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Oh, look at Jai. More Vila Govinda Bhakta Vrinda. Who is here? Lilavati Didi, Dandavat. And Iravati. Oh, she's in Navadvip. I should put my glasses on. Hare Krishna. So fortunate to be in the land of magnanimity. Nadia Priya, Dandavat, Seva Rupa, Didi in Mexico, Dandavat. Is that everyone? All right. Bancha kalpa tribhyascha kripa sindhu vevata patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavats to one and all. Hare Krishna.
And a reminder to all the devotees that tomorrow, same time, same place, and tomorrow we're expecting we're going to have a mini tour to Jaipur and possibly Natadwar and other places. So same time, same place tomorrow. Looking forward to your association. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dandavat, dandavat. Jai Gurudev ki jai, Jai Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Gurudev's Pushpa Samadhi in Govardhan ki jai. Haribo. Krishna Krishna.
Govinda Sundar ki jai.